Zoom, can you hear me? Let me see. All right, I think we are good to go. Those of us on YouTube, it's nice having you here. Those of us on Instagram, it's nice having you here. Zoom people, how are we doing? All right, so when you see me looking downwards, I'm looking at people on Zoom. They are my MVPs. And when you see me looking this angle, I'm looking at Instagram. And when I'm facing here, I'm looking at YouTube for my audiences on YouTube. All right, so you all are welcome to today's Sunday live show. All right, so today what are we going to be discussing? I'm really excited because today I'm starting a series, but I don't know how long this series will be because it's more of a practical kind of thing. And I'm going to use the practical section for only the MVP in my private coaching group, which is the people on Zoom. But I decided to go live so that one or two or three persons can learn from it. So the power of the power of public speaking, which public speaking is also called presentation skill. This is your first time meeting me. My name is Eminent Augusta, and I am a digital business growth consultant, a sales and marketing expert, and a lot of things, a brand strategies, and quite a whole lot. So if you want to learn more about me, click on the link on my bio or go to www.eminentaugusta.com to learn more about me. So let's dive in because I won't waste our time today. So presentation skills, for those of us in Zoom, if you can hear me, give me 111. All right, fantastic. Thank you. All right, so I want to ask us a question. Do you know that there's an aspect of speaking that can actually pay your bills, as in pay you good money? And when you master the ability to speak and to present, because speaking is you presenting something to people, doing a presentation to an audience, it's a skill where you learn how not only to tell a story, but also to sell a story to people. That's what presentation is basically all about. All right, so that is why it is called storytelling to story selling. You don't just tell a story, but you sell the story, which is your ability to tell a story inside a story and convince people to buy from you or to take a decision or an action in favor of what you want them to do. All right, so I know many of you, your next question will be then, what is presentation skills? Now, presentation skill is your ability to put written words into what? Into spoken words and more of acting. Because I'm a public speaker. I do a lot of presentation, right from for a very long time. I can't really remember. Each time I'm going on the stage, what I tell myself is, let's go and act. Because it's a movie. The person I am on the stage is a different person behind the stage. So you need to assume a personality in order for you to perform well on the stage. All the celebrities, all those you're seeing today, when you see them on a stage, is a personality, is a brand you see on a stage. But behind the stage, you get to meet them. Eminent Augusta, you see here speaking to you, is a brand, is a different personality from who I am behind the scene, is a different personality from who I am at home. All right, so presentation skill, which one of you have asked, is your ability to put written words into what? Into spoken words in order to captivate people's attention. That's basically what a presentation is. So it's simply, one of my coaches say, presentation skill is simply copywriting. Is simply copywriting in spoken words. All of you already know what copywriting is. If you don't know what copywriting is, go to my previous live video. All right, copywriting is your ability to write written words in order to make people make a decision in your favor. Now, instead of you writing it as a written word, you now do what? You speak it out, and when you are speaking it out, you are acting in most of the senses. All right, so presentation is your ability to put written words into spoken words that can captivate people's attention. Okay, so your ability to do this puts you in a position where people make decision in your favor. That's what presentation skill is. All right, so presentation skill can also be referred to as a public speaking skill. They are the same. It's just about the manner of what, when, and what you are using it to do. For example, if you are in a corporate setting and you are asked to present a what do they call it now? Make a presentation to make a company partner with you. That's a presentation. Now, some people is also a public speaking, but when you are in a general atmosphere, like an audience, you are called to speak to an audience on a topic, that's public speaking, but the two are the same. So presentation skill and public speaking skill are all the same, all right? So that person that asked the question on Zoom, hope you've gotten your answer. All right, so presentation skill can also be referred to as, yes, the skill of public speaking, which is your capacity to make people to make decisions in your favor, your ability to interact, connect with people, and convince people to make a decision in your favor. And it's through storytelling and story selling. Because when you tell a story, you don't just tell a story, you also do what? You sell a story, and that's what makes people to do what? Make a decision in your favor. Okay, so hence you learn how to present or you speak publicly. You must first gain what I call confidence. You see, it takes confidence to make money. Public speaking skill, presentation skill can put serious money in your pocket. And that's the reality, that's the truth of the matter. It can put serious money in your pocket. I hope I put this stuff in. Please do not disturb. Let me see. For those of us on Instagram. Sorry, I want to be sure. Okay, sorry about that distraction. For those of us on Zoom, sorry, it seems like those on Instagram has gone off. Okay, we are still live. I had to put the phone on Zoom. Sorry, the phone on Instagram on. Please do not disturb. I saw some distractions. All right, so sorry about that. Those of us on Zoom. Okay, so that's what public speaking. Public speaking is presentation skill, and it's your ability to make people make a decision in your favor. Now, another thing I need you to know is that when you are doing public speaking, when you're doing presentation, I need you to have something in mind. I need you to know that you need confidence. You need confidence. It takes confidence to make money. It takes confidence to do anything you want to do in this life. It takes confidence. So you need confidence, because confidence equals to wealth. So when you are confident enough, and the beautiful thing about presentation is that when you are confident, people that you are talking to will know you are confident. And if you're not confident, they will also know that you're not confident. They'll perceive it from you. And it's about transmitting the energy you possess within yourself to your audience. And that's a very, very, we like call it spiritual electrifying connection. And you must master the art of that connection. All right. So hence you must do what? Develop confidence. There are different ways of developing confidence, but the first way of developing confidence is your ability to gain knowledge, because the more knowledge you have, the more confident you're going to be. All right, so remember, like I said initially, presentation is copywriting in spoken words. Okay, so when you speak words, that is presentation. And you don't just speak, but you act. Like right now, I'm speaking with each and every one of you. I'm acting, I'm articulating my hand. Assuming I just sat down and be talking like someone that is reading news. Guess what? This will be boring. So it's also about what? It's about acting, because you must act. Like I told you guys, each time I'm called to speak, or each time I want to speak to people, even right now, before I do that, I'll say, okay, let's go and act. You are acting. All right, you are acting. So you can call it an act or acting presentation, something like that. Just see it as an act. All right, so yes, I believe I've answered your question. Okay, someone was asking, she said, Louis, you said, I have stage fright, so how can I overcome the fear of speaking on stage or in a gathering? Okay, Louis, I get you. The truth is that most of us that are into public speaking, we are all labeled shy, introvert at the initial stage. And guess what? Even at this point, I see that as a tag, is a label we give to ourselves. If I should ask some of you now, is Eminent Augusta an introvert or an extrovert? Many of you say I'm an extrovert. Why? Because of what you are seeing. But the truth is that I'm a introvert. I am very, very shy. I can be very, 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 very shy. But guess what? It's only if you are with me on a personal level, you know that I am shy. But when I'm in the public, when I'm outside, when I need to act, when I need to perform, I assume the personality that needs to get a job done. That's the difference. All right, so I can relate with you very well, Louis. I can relate perfectly with you. Now, I can remember in my early days when I started public, because I used to be very shy. I'm born a Catholic. So, when we go to church, there are two processions. The first procession is to go and do your offering. And Catholic church, we are always big in numbers. So then in Jos, I was, there's this, when I was small, there's this church, Fatima or St. Augustine, where the seminarians are. And it's a large, like an auditorium, an Obi auditorium, a large one. And during the offering, they'll start with people at the back, only one box. You have to go to the front and put your offering. So each time I go, I'm always shivering, I'm always shaking. And my head will be down till I come back to my seat. Na Catholic church always have this big crowd. All right. So I used to be like that. I used to feel like that. I can even remember the first time I was called. Sorry, the first time I was called to speak on a stage. When I came out, I was shaking, I was shivering. In fact, the people I was speaking to, they were all sleeping, and I couldn't make a sale. And my coach then had to even tax me for not making a sale. I had to pay him for my inability to do what? To get people to make a decision in my favor. Rather, I got them to be sleeping. Okay, so it's normal for each and every one of us. And the truth is that fear is still there up till now. I still have that fear. So it's not a crime or it's not a bad thing for you to have the fear of public speaking. It's not a bad thing, but what you need to do, you need to learn how to live with your fear. Live with that fear and grow with it. Then tell yourself when it's time for you to come out to speak, you come out, assume that person. Remember, it's an art. Assume the personality that needs to get a job done and get the job done. Then when you go into your private section, you do what? You conceal your shyness and introvertedness. Okay, but guess what? There is a solution for you. Louis, I believe I've answered your question. There is a solution to that problem, and I'm going to share it with you. Now, there are 2 or 3 principles. I don't think I have enough time to share the 3 principles, but there are 2 to 3 principles that you can use to overcome stage fright. Now, guess what? For the best of us, even professionals, we still feel that fear. Before I came, before I came here to speak to each and every one of you, that fear was in me. But I told myself, let me get a job done. I assume, because you don't think too much about it, just assume that personality and get the job done. All right, so there are 2 to 3 principles, and we all still feel that fear till tomorrow. Not just me, the best public speakers you see out there, before they mount on a stage or get themselves prepared to speak to others, they still feel that fear. But do you know the difference? We don't allow that fear to keep us down. We feel the fear and we still take action. All right, we feel the fear and we still take action. So your ability to master this principle I'm going to share with you is going to put you in a position where you train your mind to know when to act the personality that is needed for the occasion. All right. So the principle of public speaking, there are 2 to 3 principles of public speaking, but because of time, I'm going to share only 2 with each and every one of us. All right. So the principle to public speaking or presentation skill, in order for you to overcome that fear in your mind, that stage fright, you need to first of all identify. One of my coaches will call it identify the elephants in the room. All right. Then you focus on them. Now, make them feel important. When you identify the elephants in the room, focus on them. Make them feel important and make them the subject of your presentation respectively. Now, some of you ask, who is the elephant? I'm not talking about an actual elephant like that one in Jos Wildlife Park. No. I'm actually talking about, there are 2 types of elephants that you are going to find in the room. It depends on the one you want to deal with. Now, the first elephant you find in the room is that person that when you start your opening and you are trying to make a joke or make people laugh or get people engaged in your conversation, that person that is bold, either they are frowning or they are keeping a straight face. They don't want to laugh, they don't want to smile. When you ask, they just don't want to do anything. They'll just be looking at you. That's elephant number 1. You can do what? Focus on them, make them feel important, and make them the subject of your presentation. The second elephant in the room, a lot of people do the first elephant in the room. They identify that person that they are scared of, that person that makes them uncomfortable, and focus on that person and make the person the subject matter and do what? And everything they talk about during the presentation, they make it all about that person. That is the first elephant, which personally, I don't work with that first elephant, but there's a second elephant which I work with. The second elephant is when I get to a stage, I do my introduction and start communicating with people. Now, I look for my ideal, my customer avatar. Now, while I'm making that conversation with them, some of them are responding. I look out for my customer avatar. My customer avatar must be that person that is cheerful, beautiful or handsome, that give me that cheerful face, and at the same time that look wealthy and that is ready to interact and communicate with me. Now, the moment I identify that customer avatar, sometimes, in fact, number one, they must look wealthy, as in they must look represent. There are a lot of things I use in qualifying my customer avatar. Okay. Now, everything I'm going to say about that presentation, all the perspective I'm going to use, everything will be about them. And I don't just have one customer avatar. I do my best to have 2 or 3 or 4 customer avatar because I am acting a movie. So when I'm acting, guess what? I want others to do what? To watch us. So these are the 2 types of elephants in the room. Now you can choose which elephant you want to focus on. Is it the one that makes you uncomfortable, or the ones that make you comfortable looks like your customer avatar? Okay, so that is it. So when I say the elephants in the room, there could be more than one person. Just like I said, the elephant that makes you feel uncomfortable and looks you both straight in the eye without smiling and they are not cheerful, or the elephant that is cheerful, beautiful, and look rich and wealthy and looks like your customer avatar. Okay, so the both of them must appear like your customer avatar. All right, so that is the elephant in the room. So now here is the secret. When you identify the elephant in the room, you need to do what? You need to go beyond the normal thing. You need to bond with them. You need to ask them questions. You need to create a connection with them and let them see themselves as part of the presentation. And guess what? Most of the time when you are engaging them and throwing questions, they'll be doing what? They'll be answering. The rest of the audience will end up doing what? Watching you guys. That is it. Now, the third perspective is for people that have stage fright is for the beginning time. People do that, but personally, I didn't do that because one thing about public speaking is you need to learn how to look your audience in the eye, eyeball to eyeball, because it shows that you are confident. You look them in the eye and speak to them. It shows that you are very confident. All right. Now, some people tend to start looking over their head. It's okay to look over their head for a start. You can even, one of my colleagues then said he imagined them to be kids in his mind and he feels like he's speaking to kids. It makes him overcome his stage fright. But this is the basic thing professionally, I can tell you. So just start practicing, do what works for you, but gradually you grow to this level of identifying the elephants in the room, and then you choose the type of elephant you want to do what identify with, focus on them and make them your subject matter in the presentation. All right, so that is the first principle. Now the second principle is that I need you to do what? To learn to listen to your audience. As much as you're presenting, don't just be the only person talking. You need to learn how to engage your audience. There are a lot of principles when it comes to presentation. Your ability to act. Remember, you are acting and you don't just stand at a place. You move around, you articulate so that people will not feel bored. So that the more you move, their eye is following you and they will not feel sleepy. But when you are static, they'll feel sleepy. All right. So you need to learn how to do what? Listening to your audience. Listening skill is like a complementary sibling or sister to public speaking. Okay. Ask your audience questions, engage them, give them the ability to speak. And when you give them the ability to speak, your capacity to listen will solidify the relationship between you two. All right, that's what you need to do. Okay, so Louis, I believe with my explanation, you've gotten the gist now, right? All right, fantastic, perfect. So I need you to bear in mind that public speaking or presentation skill is all about connection. It's about bonding with your audience. You need to connect with your audience and every other thing will fall into place for you. Trust me on that. And that is why you need to ensure that you're opening into your presentation, you create that bond. Once you create that bond at the opening of your presentation, every other thing will fall into place. All right. Do I have any other question? Okay. Dr. Omar, you said How can I develop my skill of public speaking? Well, to develop your skill of public speaking, I believe that should be a common question for some of you. For you to develop your skill of public speaking, you need to speak. You can't become without practicing. All right, so you need to do what? You need to speak. Start speaking. Speak a lot. Practice, practice. They say practice makes improvement, not perfection, because that word perfection does not exist. But there is what we call improvement, because improvement puts you in a position where you don't get comfortable with yourself, but knowing that tomorrow you can get knocked out of the game and the competition is there, so you keep improving yourself to remain relevant. Okay, so you can develop your skill, Dr. Omar, by doing what? Practicing to speak. Start speaking. You can speak to yourself. Like, for example, when I started, I was speaking to myself in my room, in the mirror. I'll close the door in my mirror. I speak to myself. So you can speak to yourself. You can speak to your children or small group of people. Just start practicing. One of my colleagues then, when I started public speaking, he will go to in Jos. There are a lot of rocks in Jos and mountains. So at the back of our office, there's this rock and mountain. So he'll climb to the rock and he'll do what? He will start speaking. So just start speaking. Start with yourself. I remember a story said by Pastor Suleiman. Is it Joshua Suleiman? He said that when he knew that God called him, he always find himself at the backyard of their compound, of their house, speaking. And that he was preaching, speaking. So he was just speaking and he kept doing that. And the mom kept watching him. And that he was trying to tell people that what he's doing did not start today. That was what he was trying to explain to people, that him speaking, him, because he does public speaking and at the same time he's a pastor, he preach. He said it didn't start today. It's something that started when he was small, that he always speak, even without an audience. He was preparing himself. He would take a bottle or a stick and go to the back of his house and do what? And start speaking and start preaching. All right, so just start. Don't think too much, just start. There's always, nobody was perfect when we started. All of us were not perfect, but constant practice, consistency makes what? Improvement. So here is the assignment I want to give to each and every one of us. Each and every one of you listening to me, those of you on Instagram, YouTube, and those of you on Zoom. All right, here is the assignment I need you to do, so that you can, this assignment, if you practice it religiously, you're going to improve your public speaking or presentation skill. All right, so start listening to people. Okay, start listening to public speakers that you admire so much. Great speakers, there are a lot of them. I can't mention all of them. People like Jim Rowe, people like listening to, there are a lot of them, but let me just mention a few. People like Jim Rowe, people like Les Brown, people like what's the name of this guy again? Mas Moron, people like John Obidi, people like Sam Harvard, people like Nelly Obogo, many of them, and myself. I also listen to myself. All right, so start listening to public speakers. When you listen to them over and over again, you do what? Analyze the way they speak. Okay, you can decide to watch movie. Movie is another way to learn how to do public speaking. Someone like me, I didn't know how to read. I struggled in learning how to read when I was small. My literature and English language classes in my secondary school days, I struggled. But what helped me to pick up my reading ability was through movie. All the literature, all the novels, I struggled in reading novels. But at the end, every holiday, because I didn't school with my family, I was deported to the east. My family were in the north. So every long vacation, because I'm not permitted to come to the north to visit my family till long vacation. Long vacation is always August. Okay, so every long when we have a short break, I go to the village. My auntie reads stories for me. She gets all these storybook and read them in Igbo language for me. But when I get back to the north, I do what? I tend to watch all the movie, like Romeo and Juliet. I never read that book. I struggled in reading. So how did I know about Romeo and Juliet? I watched the movie. Hamlet, I watched the movie. A lot of books they asked us to read in literature then. I watched their movie, and that was how I was able to get. And when I'm watching the movie, I watch movies that have subtitle. That was how I was able to grow my capacity and ability to read. I struggled while I was growing up, all right, to read, but that was what helped me. So you can decide to do what? You can decide to watch movie of great speakers, okay? And when you watch them, you analyze them and do what? See how they are using these copywriting skills. I did a lot of series on copywriting, so If you don't know what copywriting is, so visit my channel, go back, or you can send me a private message, connect with me through my website or any link around this video or in my bio. Then we can create a section if you want a one-on-one section on copywriting skill. Okay, so the second assignment is I need you to study the biography of great men. Great men, great women, study their biography, including those that are dead and those that are alive. I'm someone that, as much as I admire the success of people, I admire the success of people. I am not delusional to just admiring where they are right now, to admiring that they've arrived to this level. I am more interested to find out how did they get here. The how they got here is what inspires me to do more. Okay, because all that glitters is not gold. So that is me. So I advise you, study the biography of great men and women, both those that are dead and those that are living legends. Don't just admire them. Go and study, how did they start? What was their weaknesses? What were they suffering from? What were they struggling with that got them here? That will help you resonate with some of them and know that you are not alone. It's not as if this person is born with two heads and you're born with one. No, it's the same head. Everybody have their struggles, but everybody look for a way to navigate and do what? Win over their struggle. So I would advise you to do what? Do that. Study them, search for their background, and when you study them in public speaking, you make use of their stories, the stories of these great men and women that you study their background. And also me, I'm also a great woman, so you can share my story. I know many of you that are not, this is not your first time, you know a lot about me, not a lot, but the ones I choose to share at the time I shared it with you. Okay, so why another thing, while you're studying the biography of these people, of great men and women you admire, both those that are alive and those that are dead, so that you can use their story to inspire people. You can use their story as a background opening when you are doing your presentation, when you're doing your public speaking. Because remember, public speaking is your ability to get people to make a decision in your favor, and it's about storytelling. It's not about telling facts, and being at a place and looking like a statue or someone that is reading news. You get people bored. It's about your ability to tell a story in a story. All right, tell a story and then you transition from storytelling to storytelling. That's what makes you make money as a paid public speaker. All right, I speak a lot. I love speaking a lot. And if you don't like speaking, then you're obviously saying you don't like money, because for you to be wealthy, you need to be confident. And for you to be confident, you need people and you need to speak to people. You need to communicate with people, either through spoken words or written words. All right, so that is all for today's part one of public speaking. Next Sunday, we are going to do a part two. I wish we finish the section next Sunday. If not, we are going to have another series of public speaking. All right, so those of us on YouTube and Instagram, I believe you've learned one or two things. So if you're new to this channel, my name is Aimee Augusta. Do well to like this video so that the algorithm can help those that need it to see it more, and subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, turn on the post notification, click on that bell so that whenever we are coming live, you'll be notified on every valuable content we are sharing here. And if you want to learn more about public speaking or about copywriting skill, you can use the link on my bio to connect with me, or send me a private message, send me a DM, or use the link in the description section to connect to me, and we can have a strategic personal one-on-one section with you. All right, so at this point, those of us on YouTube, have a nice day. I'm ending it now. Those of us on Instagram, have a